Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Scriptor Joe over here, and welcome back to episode 5 of this tutorial series making you a new Roblox scripter fledgling. Last episode we talked about instances and how to create them using the instance.new function. We then proceeded to talk about how instances have their own properties, functions, and events. Let's start by talking about properties of instances, what they are and how they look like when changed. The properties of an instance can be found in the properties interface when you select an instance in the Explorer. So let's go to the workspace and create a new part using the plus button, and then look at its properties from the properties interface. Everything you see here is a property of the part instance. Every property is set to a specific value, and each value corresponds to a specific data type. Every instance can have its own unique set of properties, but there are also certain shared properties between all instances. It's good to know what these properties mean. Some of these shared properties are the following: name, class name, and parent. We still didn't select the part instance, so let's select it right now. Let's look at the name, class name, and parent properties of this instance. As you can see, the name of the part is currently part, and we can change that through the properties tab by clicking inside the prompt. So name, let's type in or press on the prompt and change the name to whatever we wish, such as brick, and press enter. There you go, the name changed to brick. Now the data type of the name property is a string. The second property, class name, is a read-only property, which means you cannot change it even if you click on the prompt. This property tells you what the class of the selected instance, which is this part, it tells you what its class is. To better understand classes, you can think of them as identifiers that help you differentiate between instances. Just like how there are different data types, there are different classes of instances. This instance called brick is of the part class. Like the name property, the data type of the class name property is a string. The last of the shared properties we will talk about is the parent property. The value of the parent property should always be set to another instance. For this part, it is set to workspace. What this means is that the part is directly inside of or under the workspace. If we change the parent property by clicking inside the prompt and clicking on another instance, such as replicated storage, we can see how the part becomes directly under or inside of the newly assigned instance, right? So let's change it back to workspace. We can see how it changed to be directly under workspace. The term used for an instance under another instance is called a child. The instance over that instance is called the parent. So over here, the workspace is the parent of brick, and brick is a child of workspace. Now I'll show you how to set the properties of an instance inside of a script instead of using the Explorer and properties interfaces. To do this, we will use the instance.new function, which takes the class name of the instance as input, which we want to set to part, and it returns the instance of the input class name as output. We'll assign that instance to a variable. Let's name it part, and assign it to the output of the instance.new function, which will return a part according to the input string or class name we put in the parentheses. So this variable's value is currently assigned to a newly created part instance. We can change the properties of this instance in the script. A newly created instance, when we call the instance.new function, has its parent property set to nil, which means it is set to nothing. So if we run this, we can notice how nothing was added to the workspace, right? This is because the parent property is set to null. To be able to see the part in the game, we have to set the parent property to workspace. So let's delete the brick part we created from the Explorer. And let's change the parent property of the part in the script in order to make it visible in game, right? So to do that, we first reference the parent property of the part instance by typing the part variable, which is part, add a period, and then type the name of the property we want to change, in this case, the parent property. We then assign it to another instance using the equal sign, and we reference what we want the parent to be, which is game.workspace. We typed game wrong, let's type it correctly, game.workspace. Now you will probably ask, what is this thing I just typed, right? Game.workspace. Now, this represents the workspace we see in the Explorer interface. To reference anything in our game inside the script, we need to call it by its ancestry. What I mean by that is that we need to state all the parents that is currently inside. For example, in our workspace, we have an instance called baseplate. And to be able to reference this instance in our script, we save it as a variable, local, let's call it baseplate. And we set it equals to that instance by naming all the parents in order from biggest to smallest, which is directly over that instance. So we start from the oldest parent, which is game, then period, then the name of the parent, the second parent, which is workspace, and then the name of the instance itself, which is baseplate. So over here we referenced the baseplate instance by typing in its ancestry and then typing, so this is the ancestry, and then typing in the instance name itself. So this references this object over here in the Explorer. Now let's delete this variable. And before that, let's talk more about this game instance over here. So you might say, hey, we cannot see anything named game in the Explorer. Yes, you cannot, but it is still there. Every instance or service in this IDE is a direct child or descendant of the game instance. So everything you see in the Explorer is directly or indirectly the child of game. That's why it was included when we referenced workspace. Now let's delete the baseplate variable and run the game. As you can see, now instead of the part not being visible or inside the Explorer interface, we can see that a new part was created and added to the workspace. That's because we set the parent to workspace. Now to focus on this part in our game, we can select it and then press the F key. As you can see, it takes us directly to that part. To rotate the camera, you can hold the right click button and just move the mouse. To zoom in, you can just use the scroll wheel. Now, let's stop the game and try to change other properties such as name. To change the name property of our part, we can just type in the variable assigned to our part, which is part, followed by a period, and the property name, which is name. We can then assign it to any string we want, for example, brick. Now let's run the game and see if the name changed. And if we look at the Explorer under Workspace, we can see that the part created, its name is set to brick. Now, if we were to assign a property to a data type that does not correspond to it, we will encounter an error. For example, let's assign the name property to a Boolean data type, such as false, and see what happens in our game. So let's run it. And there you go, an error occurred. So it says unable to assign property name, string expected got Boolean. So it has to be a string. So let's change it back to name. Now let's talk about instance functions, or what are actually called methods. Methods are functions specifically related to an instance that can only be called by referencing that instance. For example, we have the part variable, which is assigned to a newly created part instance. Let's say, for example, we want to destroy this part after 10 seconds pass in our game. We can do this by using the wait function we learned previously in the previous video. And we can input the number 10 as input. This tells the computer to wait 10 seconds before doing the next task or lines of code we want it to do. So we can then use an integrated function or method called destroy by typing in the variable name, which is part, and then using a colon to tell the computer that we want to call a method of this instance. And then we type in the method or function name, which is destroy. So colons after the variable name are specific to functions. Periods can be either properties or events, which we will talk about later. So what this does is it destroys the part that we create in our game. It removes it from our game. Now, like all functions, methods can accept input and they can return output. The destroy method is a void function that accepts no input and returns null or nothing as output. So if we run the game and focus on the new part by selecting it and pressing F, we can see that after 10 seconds pass, the part is destroyed. There are many methods for an instance. There are many methods for every instance in our game. And although we can see all of the methods related to any one instance by referencing the instance and typing. Now there are many methods for every instance in our game, and we can see all the methods related to any one instance by referencing the instance and typing in colon. So let's reference part and type in colon. The idea then suggests all the available methods you can type in. We can surf through them using the up and down keys. To know more about what each does, you can look on it. You can look it up on the Roblox provided API website on your browser. Now, to know more about what each method does, you can look it up on the Roblox provided API website on your browser. So let's go to our browser and type in Roblox API and enter. Then we will click this site over here, and then we can type in the search the name of the instance class which the method is a part of. In our case, it is part. And here we can look at all the properties. So if you press it or click it, over here we can look at all the properties, functions or methods, and events of the part instances. So as you can see, for the destroy method, let's drop down the inherited from instances method, or actually it's in the under methods. So inherited from instance. Let's go to destroy. It's over here. Click on it and it takes you directly to the API or explanation of the destroy function or method of the part instance. Now let's talk about events. What are events? Events, as the name implies, are things that happen. For example, let's talk about the part we create in our game in the script. Whenever the part is destroyed, we want the computer to print out. You just destroyed a part. So we'll use events in this case to command the computer when to print that. The event we want to use is related to the part instance, specifically when it is destroyed. So to reference it, we type in the instance variable part, and then period, and finally the event name, which is destroying. So events are basically signals that we have to connect to a function so that something actually happens when they occur. So let's create a function called destroyed, right? So local function destroyed, open parentheses, and then close it with an end, and make it print you just destroyed a part. So when this function is called, the computer will print you just destroyed a part. Now let's connect this function to the event destroying by typing in colon connect after that function, after that event. And connect is a method or function specific to events or Roblox signals that connects them to a function which is called when they happen. So let's type in the function name we want to call when the part is destroyed, and that is the destroyed function. And we type in just the name without opening any parentheses after the function. Now let's run this and see if the computer prints you just destroyed a part after the part is destroyed. So let's focus on the part in workspace and wait for it to be destroyed. And as you can see, the computer does print you just destroyed a part when the part is destroyed. Now let's stop the game and talk more about events. Every instance can have many events which occur when different things happen. You can learn more about each event from the Roblox API website we opened. So for the part instance, we can see the destroying event by trying to find it. So if we close this inherited from instance tab, as well as this one, you can see the events over here, and we open the inherited from instance events tab, and we can find destroying at the bottom. When we click on it, we can find details on when it fires or occurs. We will talk about different properties and data types in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the learning experience, and if you want to continue, be sure to watch the next video. If you want to stop here, just save your progress by pressing File, Save to File, and then name the file whatever you want and save it wherever you wish. Be sure to support the channel by giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or inquiries, feel free to ask in the comments section.